Since we moved into this house, I have not had my own desk. I've been doing Zoom calls for work at the kitchen table. So I finally broke down and invested in a desk, and it landed here in the exercise room. My plan is not to do YouTube videos in a studio setting. I want to continue to be out in the field, but I wanted somewhere nice for those Zoom calls. And also now when I'm home, if something pops in my head and I want to record it, I can just sit down and knock it out. So I'll talk about the project I was supposed to be on this week coming up. But first up, Zhiyun offered to send me another light. This is the Cinepeer C100. It's a light bar that's bicolor as well as RGB, and it's got some effects. I thought it'd be a good addition for my van package. I particularly like that it comes in a case very similar to the Aperture style fixtures. The cob light that they sent over just came in a box. It didn't come with a case. And while it's nice and compact, it's been sitting in my garage because I haven't found a good case for it to stack it in the rear doors of my van. So real quick, this setup is my old Canon 5D. I'll put the app exposure settings at the bottom of the screen because I don't remember, but it's very low light. I don't have any lighting on my face. That's actually light bouncing off a white wall from a overhead LED recessed can light. It's out in the hallway. The doorway to this room is just, the camera's sitting in the doorway. So that's just ambient light bouncing off a wall, overhead lighting. And then I have the C100 behind me set to a blue and RGB mode. It's running on battery. I haven't even charged it. This was right out of the case, and it's been on for over an hour. It's running at 10%, and then I've got a window over here with the blinds closed. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I plan to use this light specifically for color washes on backgrounds, but I can also see where it may be effective on a C-stand arm armed out as a backlight instead of my newer panels. I like that it has an internal battery, and it's super punchy at 10%. So I can't imagine ever really I'm going to be running this much higher than 10, 15, maybe 30%. But here, I'm going to run through the menus real quick here and see. So we're in HSI mode. That's pretty obvious, right? You got a hue. Oh, that's interesting. When you press the center select dial, it goes from 0 to 50 to 100. It's back to 0. I'm going to bring it up to, let's just do like, since it's nailing the camera, that's 5%. And then let's switch to, so that's hue 225 degrees, saturation is 100%. Switch modes. Okay, CCT mode, that's dimmer is at, that was at 2%. That's 3%. Ooh, 50, 100, 0. Let's go back to 3. And then I don't have a color meter to verify how accurate these Kelvin settings are, but the maximum is 6,500 Kelvin. This is 55 and 5,000 going down, 32, 28, 29, 20, 2,700K is the minimum. So 65 down to 2,700K. And I was really excited to see this. I missed this from my, my light panel. Geminis have this feature, but the Astra 6Xs do not. It's a green magenta shift, so it goes from -10 to +10. That is super useful in available lighting office buildings specifically, where you get inexpensive overhead lights. If they're the older fluorescents, they tend to be either mostly green, sometimes they go magenta. Same with the typical commercial LED fixtures that go in the recessed drop ceiling. So to be able to change your production lighting to match the thing you don't have control over, so then you match everything in white balance with that tint shift. Or I've also played with, I intentionally want the background to go kind of green and sickly, so I'll add magenta to my foreground lighting. Like I said, I wish my Astra 6Xs, they're kind of old, but I wish they did that. My Geminis have that ability, as do the RE Sky panels. I don't think the Apertures will do that. My 300Ds are daylight only, and they don't have a tint. Let me know if there are other Aperture instruments that do have a green magenta offset. So moving on modes here, we've got HSI, which is where we started. RGB, I'm sorry, we were in RGB. So HSI, just getting to the colors using a different method. So this is effects. So that's like a magenta and purple. Gosh, still can't see it. It's so incredibly bright. See it on my face, maybe? Come down, yeah, 1%. 1%, and it's too punchy. That's a good problem to have. So there's, different effects modes. Whew. Okay, moving on to FX mode. This is a TV simulation. My light panels will do this, the Geminis. I've only used it once in all the years I've had them, so let's see, it's pretty slow pulsing. We can see a little bit there. That's speed 3. Let's try a faster speed. Speed 5. Okay, interesting. Let's try speed 1. Boy, speed 1, I'm not seeing the change at all, but that's a TV effect. That's at 2% on the dimmer. We've got lightning, self-explanatory, rolling shutter camera. Candle, let me dim that down, that's 20%. Candle at 1%. Oof. Change the speed. Speed 1, let's go up to speed 5 at 1%. So that's directly on me. I got to waste it away. That's 50% of the bar. That's like maybe 10, 12%. I just bounce off the door. All right. Candle. Next up is bad bulb, speed 1. To speed 5, which is the maximum. SOS light at 1%. This is paparazzi mode at 6% on the dimmer. Be curious to test this. This is a Canon 5D Mark IV, older camera with a rolling shutter. So yeah, sometimes it's hitting and other times it's not reading as much. There we go, that's full intensity. I'd be curious to line up all my current model cameras. So FX3, FX9, Burano, all in the same common frame rate for me, which would be UHD, and see how they each respond in different ways. Maybe we'll try that out in an upcoming vlog. Included in the case is a AC power supply, 2-sided barn doors that have reflective material on the inside, and then it's just like a half ring, snap ring that clip on and off. Last up is a clamp style stand mount. Now it doesn't have a 5/8 baby pin receiver. Instead, it's tapped on 2 sides with a 1/4-20 thread. So you could use like a Manfrotto threaded stand, or I've got a couple of modern baby pin to 1/4-20 adapters that just slip on the top of stands. But I think for me in my applications, I'm either going to be biting it with like a Cardellini clamp for backlighting, and what'll be more common is a color wash on the background. Okay, that is a blue wash at 10% on the dimmer. Now I've got a lot of ambient spill in the room from the window that's just out of frame, and then again my key light is just the overhead lighting in the hallway bouncing off the wall, which is like a white beige. Okay, shameless plug, there's a link in the description if you want to purchase this light. You can get a discount, or any other product from Zhiyun. It's 10, might be 15%. You'll just have to follow the link and see, and I obviously get a little kickback from anything you buy. But that's not why I said yes to this product. This was something I was interested in anyway, as it replaces my big Gemini 2x1s. I have 2 of those I used to carry in the van. I've moved them to storage because they're so massive now compared to a lot of the newer light technology. And those things are so big and are so punchy. I rarely need the output. I just wanted a smaller, soft RGB source. So I can carry 1 or 2 of these in quite a bit smaller footprint. And more importantly, they run on battery, whereas those Geminis were exclusively a AC power situation. I have been procrastinating for years on this, but I need to finish insulating my bunk area in the van. So I put the AC in this summer, 12 volt AC. It pulls about 48 amps when the compressor is running. I've got a 400 amp hour battery, so 47 amps compressor on. We'll just round it up to 50 amps. On a 400 amp battery, that means I should get about 8 hours of runtime if the compressor's on continuously. Now, I made this small bunk area. I raised the bunk up a bit from its original height, and I put curtains at the front and back to try to contain and insulate the sleeping area. I'm still losing a lot of temperature through the side panels. They're just giant heat sinks, obviously. So I am going to work on that. I'm going to run to Home Depot right now and get some materials. You never know, 2 vehicles park in this garage every night. Several projects half complete. So I get the foam installed. Show you real quick here. So this is, I think it's got an R9 rating, Owens Corning 1-inch. I was debating using a 2-inch foam. Just use an oscillating cutting tool to fit this in here. And it's been in for a day. I test drove, just running errands around town, and it's staying in place. So next plan is, I think I want to leave these removable because the mattress actually extends under. They're pinched in there, so when I do change out the sheets, I'm gonna need to pull these panels down. But I'm gonna put this same industrial carpet on the foam and just using carpet adhesive. And then I'm gonna make a lip up here. So I may glue this to the van. That way this is hinged for changing out the bedding or if I ever need to remove the mattress. This frame piece up here is hollow and I can't get any wool insulation in there. So I think I'm gonna buy a couple of cans of expanding foam and just shoot it in there to fill that void, get a little R value. And then I've got enough foam as a 4x8 sheet. I have enough left that in the coming week, I'll cut out some insulated panels for the doors.